Hi there everybody, this is Leslie Oman from Heffy Doodle and I have a card to share with you guys, and it's a Happy New Year card because can you even believe it's 2023? Well, I'm here in my new craft room and I wanted to test drive my new video setup, so here I have a video for you guys. So I'm so excited to be here. I've pulled out a couple of products that were inspiring me today, like the Fantastic Painters, the Stitched Alphabeters. I thought I might use the balloons, but in the end I didn't use those. And then I wanted to use this wine bottle from the Girlfriends stamp set. I also took a look at my swatches. These are the swatches I have of my distress inks, and I've pulled out 3 different colors that I know I want to use on today's project. Now, I was inspired to do these 3 colors because of something I got in my stocking from Santa Claus. I got some pearlescent paints and I was swatching them, and this set here has this gorgeous orange. It's a real muted orange. It's very much a dried marigold in the Ranger range, and when it dries it has a beautiful pearlescent sheen. So I had been testing it out on some scrap card and I thought, hey, let's add that to a card today. So this is watercolor paints by DecoTime. That is you can get these in the B&M stores in the UK and they're very inexpensive, so that is brilliant. So let's get my 3 colors: worn lipstick, dried marigold and salvaged patina, and then we can get inking for the basis of our card today. I'm going to be using Distress Oxides for this card because I've already prepared a top folding note card, and when I'm using Distress inks I like to use my paint on cardstock, which is a watercolor type cardstock, and this is just card bases made using Heffy Doodle white 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it actually blends really nice with Oxide, so that's why I'm using that today. And I'm starting by blending the top half of my note card with Salvaged Patina, and I'm going to do the bottom half in worn lipstick. Now I prefer to ink blend from the top down to the bottom, so I'm just flipping around my media mat here so I can add the ink in a more comfortable way for me. Once I have blended the pink down towards the middle, I'll do a very quick blend back up with the Salvaged Patina, and I always love adding a little bit of a distressed feel to my inked panels, and this is just a little spritzer with some water and some perfect pearls in there, and it gives a nice distressed look but with a beautiful shine. And this is a New Year's card, so I'm thinking shiny and lots of glitter. I also wanted to add some blue splatters, so I tapped the Salvaged Patina onto my media mat and then spritzed it with water and added some blue splatters all over my panel. Here I've got a little offcut. This is from the Rolling Hills landscape die, and I'm just going to use that with the dried marigold distress oxide because I'm in a little bit of an mission to use up some of my scraps around my craft room, so that's why I'm using that today. And I'm going to now move over to my sentiments. I've pulled out the Happy New Baby Jumbo sentiments and also the Stitched Alphabetter dies, and these are going to form the basis of my sentiment. I'm going to not use the word baby, but use happy and new together, and then use the Stitched Alphabetters to spell out the word year. And I'll start with those letters, those capital letter dies with my pearlescent orange cardstock here. And when that was finished, I was wondering if I could do the whole sentiment using this orange cardstock, but there wasn't enough room, but that's okay because I decided that the word happy would fit and then I would have a two-tone sentiment. So I've cut the word happy here, but as you can see, there's some bits on the end where it has caught the word new. So let's grab a pair of scissors and trim this off so that we have the word happy and none of the words below it. Now I also have on my desk a white offcut, which was in the back of my Happy New Baby die pocket. And so I'm going to stick my orange happy right on top of this white cardstock to layer up these sentiments together like this. And I'm using some wet glue. I'm using Gluebert today. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room, which is great. Now, let's trim off this orange section. I'll use my Heffy Doodle mini paper trimmer to trim this down so that it fits perfectly at the bottom of my card. And then I can get a better idea of how my card's all going to come together. Now at this point, I thought that I might include some balloons. So I have my stitch balloon dies, but they didn't actually make it onto the card in the end. But I did use these cute little pandas from the Fantastic Painters stamp set. And I have some accessories here, a wine glass and a wine bottle. And those are from the Ghoul Friends stamp set. I'm using some Heffy Doodle alcohol marker friendly cardstock and my mini Misty to stamp these images onto my cardstock. And I'm going to be using my favorite ink, which is Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I love the way it gives a perfect dark black impression whenever I'm stamping with it. And it also is really great for when I'm using some alcohol markers. And I'm going to use some Copics today for this. So let's get these little cuties all inked up. I'm using my Copic chows, and the great thing about Pandas is that they're so easy to colour in. I'm using a C9, C7, C5, and for the white areas I'm using C3 and C2. And I will give them a little bit of a pink nose and a pink cheek as well, just to really make them pop and add a little bit of color. I'm also coloring in the wine bottle with some pink alcohol markers so that they have some pink bubbly to celebrate New Year's Day. This also works really well because we have pink in our card design with that worn lipstick distress ink in the background. Now let's grab the coordinating dies, a little bit of memo tape and the Heffy Doodle mini die cutting machine and cut out each of these elements so that we can add them onto our card today. I have a little dish on my craft desk so that I can add my die cut elements onto a safe area. This just prevents them from running away, getting lost, or being accidentally picked up by some stray memo tape or something to that effect. So now I have my pandas all cut out and I just need the die for this little wine glass. Now I actually, for smaller dies, I like to keep them together because I find sometimes they can be rather fiddly to position when they're very small. So that's a little tip for you guys. Feel free to keep some of your dies together. And that's also why I have left the wine glass to last when I'm die cutting, because some of those other additional dies will die cut over the rest of the cardstock that is there. But that's no problem. I can keep these little pieces if I want to, and I can stamp on them. And so I can put them in my stamp pocket again if I want, or I can just throw them in the bin. I wanted to add a little bit more white to my card so that that word new didn't seem like it was out of place. So I'm taking the birthday trio dies here and I'm going to only use that outside edge. So with my scissors, I'll trim away those two connecting pieces in the middle, and that leaves me with a lovely frame. Now, off camera, I've also die cut another happy and another couple of alphabets with white cardstock, because to bring some more of that white card behind the sentiment to make it pop, I am adding a shadow. So I'm sticking my orange Happy New sentiment on top of the white die cut, and same with each of these letters spelling out the word year. I'm going to just offset them slightly so that I can see the white peeking out on the left and at the bottom. Now let's add some sparkle, because like I said earlier, it's Happy New Year, it's celebratory. So I'm grabbing the Twinkle Twinkle stencil from Heffy Doodle, and I've got my station here, my Wendy Vecchi station. And I'll stick this down with my magnets and grab something beautiful from my multimedia cupboard so that we can add some sparkle to this card panel. Now I've pulled out a couple of different options here, and I think I'm going to go with this Nuvo paste. It is a gorgeous golden color. It's really creamy and it goes on really nicely. It's the Glacier paste, and I'm using one of my Nuvo spatulas to apply this paste onto my cardstock through the Twinkle Twinkle stencil. Now, here's the truth. I totally messed up, you guys. When I was removing the stencil, you'll see just here, I completely nudged it and it slipped right there. You saw it, and it smudged some of those gorgeous diamonds at the top of my card. So I had to wait for it to dry to see if it would be salvageable. And in the end, I decided just to make a new panel so that I would be happier with the results here. I will keep this panel and use it for another project though. Now, I decided at this point I wanted to use this scroll for my card. This is from UK, and my thought was that the pandas could have a little list of New Year's resolutions. That was my original thought. That would be cute. And then I thought, because they're holding wine glasses, we could have something that said drink less wine or drink more wine, or maybe even, you know, my resolution is to see you. So once again, things changed as we went along, but I'm still really happy with the result, and I'm glad that I added this element. It's time to assemble. So I've added my orange ground, and here is my white frame going right on top. And there was a little bit of ink that got through to the inside of the card. So let's trim that off with my paper trimmer. And then I can assemble my sentiment. So let's stick on the word happy, and I'm using Gluebert. This the wet glue allows me a little bit of wiggle room time. And then I'll start with the middle letters for the word year with the A and the E, and that means that I can get my sentiment down, and then I'll see what room I have left to add my little pandas below. So I know that I want to add this little guy with his arms out over on the right hand side, and then this guy, I've tucked the wine bottle into the internal die cut line there of his hand, and I realized I didn't color in the label. So let's add some gold using a gold glitter pen, and I'm going to add some other flecks of gold on my background, never too much sparkle. And let's now glue the wine bottle right in his little paw. I love stamps that have internal cut lines, so you could add things to the little paws. They're so cute. Now, this was almost another accident. I dropped him, but it's okay. We survived. And I just think maybe he had too much wine. I think that's probably why he fell over. Let's put his wine glass on this hand, and we'll stick down his little pal, and then we can move over to that scroll in the middle. So like I said, I was thinking about what sentiments I might have in other stamp sets that I could add in that little tiny area. And I was looking at the What You Saying and the What You Saying Now, which is size perfectly for this. And in the end, I decided that I would add the year 2023. So I grabbed my Jet Alphabeters, which are my alphabet stamps that I go to time and time again. And you know what? It fit perfectly. So I'm using that worn lipstick pink color to bring some more pink down to this bottom section of my card. And I think it turned out so pretty. I love it. Now, because this little scroll is a little tiny, I thought that I would help myself by adding it to a little piece of Heffy Doodle memo tape, and this allows me to get a better grip, and I know it's not going to run away from underneath me. So there's a little tip for you, and another way you can use your Heffy Doodle memo tape to help you stamp onto little die cuts. Okay, now that I have my date on there, let's stick this onto my card, and there's only one more thing left to be done with every card, in my opinion, is to add some little white accents using a white gel pen. So I'm using my white gel pen from Pear Blossom Press, and I'm adding just some little lines along the side of my pandas, and I also added some to the scroll, the wine glasses as well, just to help make this pop. I wanted to add some more pinky cheeks, so let's finish off with that, and then I have my card done. And just look how shiny it is. It's so pretty, and those pandas look like they're having a fabulous time. I hope you've had a great start to 2023, and from everyone here at Heffy HQ, I want to say Happy New Year. I'll see you next time. Until then, happy crafting. Bye.